This is War Room Moments, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and most relevant people on the planet, hear their stories, and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their success into your life and business. War Room Moments is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board. Here's your host, Jason Miller.
Welcome to the War Room, Jon Macaskill, fellow brother, fellow service member and veteran. Dude, it's great to have you here, man.
Hey, brother, it's great to be here with you. Thank you. It's a true honor to be on your show after all that I know, all the other guests that you've had on. I am humbled and honored, brother.
Yeah, well, anytime I get to have another veteran on, man, that's like freaking gold on the day, baby. So yeah, take us just a little bit through, just briefly, who you are and what your superpowers are, brother.
Yeah, sure, man. So I'm a retired Navy SEAL commander, and I live out in Colorado Springs. And here I am now teaching leadership and mindfulness. And those two sound like they're completely different, but they go hand in hand with one another. So I try to bring what seems to be some kind of hippy-dippy woo-woo stuff into the corporate world because of the benefits that it has for the corporate leaders and the teams they lead. Yeah.
No, it does go together. I mean, everything is how you frame it, right?
Right.
Pretty much,
yeah, man.
Right? So
yeah. Sales.
Sure.
Basically.
Yeah, pretty much, right? I mean, you can pile on the woo or the boo or the, whatever you want, Somebody said, man, you could make me cry in 30 seconds. I was like, really? I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
I guess it depends on is it tears of joy or tears of sadness, right?
What day and how many glasses of scotch did I have?
Touche.
Oh man. Well, hey, thanks for that. And the one thing I kind of like to start out with, because it's all about your journey and people learning through your journey, right? And so did you come from a family of entrepreneurs or business people, military? What was that history like for you?
Yeah, no, I did not. So I've got three older sisters and a younger brother, and I think for the most part, I'm the only entrepreneur among the siblings. Now, my mother, she's dabbled in the entrepreneur world. She knits, and I laugh, but she's done pretty well for herself. But out of my family, she's really the only entrepreneur aside from myself. But no, man, I enlisted in the Navy, went through the enlisted ranks, got picked up from the enlisted ranks, and went in the academy, and then did my time in the SEAL teams. And the latter third or maybe quarter of my time in the Navy, I was steeped in the innovation space. Mm-hmm. So in that space, there's a lot of entrepreneurs, both inside and outside of the military, working with the DoD. And I got introduced to the kind of the entrepreneurial mindset, the creativity side of things, and also the ability to break into new worlds and enlighten people with new gadgets, new ways of thinking, and also ways to recover from failure. And I think that's where I started to look at what I was going to be doing on the outside once I hung up my uniform. And I spoke to people in numerous spaces, and they're all great jobs. But when I spoke to the entrepreneurs, their job sounded as though it was similar to the SEAL teams, constant change, constant ups and downs, which may sound really horrible to some, but it's also amazing, like being able to flex with that and get a challenge thrown at you at any given day, at any given time, and overcome that challenge. You can go home and feel like you've done something worthwhile. And I feel that entrepreneurial journey is definitely I'm still part of it. I'm still on that journey. I don't think I've arrived at any arrival point yet, destination point. But that entrepreneurial journey, it just had some adventure in it, and I wanted that adventure still in my life. Now, my wife, there's times when she's like, "Hey, could you maybe find just a regular 9 to 5 job?" And there's some stability in that for sure, but there's also just, and nothing against the 9 to 5 jobs, they're fantastic, obviously, but they're for me, I needed that adventure in my life. So the entrepreneurial route is the route I took.
Yeah, I've always looked at it like, you can have a job and make impact, right? But if you get to make your own impact in the world, that's huge, right? When you get those emails from people that are like, I've been following you for 8 months and you impacted my life because of this, that, or this or that. You don't get to do that in a 9 to 5 job, and
very few,
very few, right? And so I always like to say, especially the veteran space, it's this need and want to continue to impact after you've taken the uniform off, right?
Exactly.
And there's only a couple ways you can actually do that.
Right.
I mean, you can impact a company, but if you want to impact like millions of people, right? You have to get into the entrepreneur space somehow, some way. Yeah. Whether it's your primary gig or a side hustle, I think that's where you're going to make that impact. And you know what you said right there about the email. I run a podcast much like you do. Obviously, it's a different intent, but it's called Men Talking Mindfulness. And once or twice a day, we'll get an email or a LinkedIn message or a Facebook message or whatever saying how that particular episode was what that particular person needed to hear at that particular moment in their lives. And I'll tell you, no amount of money is going to give you that sense of impact that those emails and those messages are going to give you. And, I can die tomorrow, a happy man, knowing that I've made a positive impact on somebody's lives. Now, I don't want to die tomorrow, but I could. Today's one, tomorrow's not, right?
That's right.
For sure. Well, hey, so take me back a little. Let's kind of skip backwards, right? Because I'm curious, right? So mom was a little bit entrepreneurial, right?
Yeah.
So was there some effect in that on you? Do you think it played a part in wanting to run down that road some?
Maybe subconsciously. So she was actually, prior to getting into doing anything on the entrepreneurial side, she was a nurse and a midwife, and really always wanted to make a positive impact on people. So it just comes back to that side of things. So in that regard, yes, she showed me that making a positive impact on people's lives is a worthy purpose to pursue. And my father did the same thing, just indirectly. And I think that's what inspired me to go the entrepreneurial route as far as my upbringing. Now, I also had, I ran track and cross country, and I had a coach who was very inspirational and motivational. As much as I hated him, I also loved him like a second dad, right? And he always said to those who had something in them, he was like, "Hey, you've got a bright future. You could do anything that you set your mind to. Don't get stuck in what other people want you to be." He didn't want us to be pigeonholed, that round peg in the square hole, old saying. He didn't want any of us to get pigeonholed into that. So he said, think big and have an impact on people's lives. And I think that is what inspired me the most, in addition to what I covered before with that innovation space within the Navy. But I think in my upbringing, my parents had something to do with it, but I think my coach actually had more to do with it. Even though he never said specifically pursue the entrepreneurial route, he said, "Hey, set your mind on something and go after it, because you can do something bigger than what the world thinks you can do."
Yeah. I call it the TV dad, right?
Seen
that
exactly.
commercial, the TV dad?
Yeah. Yep. I love it.
So I have a TV dad. He's my neighbor. He's 80. He's an old Force Recon guy.
Right on.
And he's harsh, man. He's one of the previous CEOs at Oracle. And I love the guy because I know I can always get like a no bullshit, unfiltered answer from him.
Right. Right.
So I say, hey, Don, what do you think about this? That's the stupidest shit I ever heard. What do you want to do that
So when you tell them that you interviewed a former SEAL who's now a mindfulness teacher, he's like, don't publish that episode. That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
Oh man, that's hilarious. But yeah, I get asked a question all the time, by listeners that, how did you get here? How did you, not necessarily a question, but making all these transitions from, military career to being in business and all these things, and making all these different transitions in life. Right.
Yeah.
And that's a tough thing to do. Right.
It is. But I think, serving in the military, I think, sets you up to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You get so used to learning a new job every 2, 3, 4 years, living in a new area. It almost becomes part of your DNA. Like I retired in August of 2020, and in the back of my mind, I keep expecting for some orders to pop up on my computer and tell me that I need to, change duty stations, and that I need to go and start doing some house hunting leave. Even though I'm retired, it's just back there, that kind of thought that's coming. So I think to kind of scratch that itch, it's almost become something that I'm used to and almost want some type of change in my life. That the entrepreneurial route scratches that itch all the time, right? So, I teach mindfulness and meditation, but I also teach leadership. And then I also run I'm a co-founder of a leadership company, and I'm X, Y, and Z. And I'm sure many of your listeners are the same way, because they learned so many things in the military, and because they were in a constant state of transition, it's almost like some place that we feel comfortable. We feel comfortable in that constant state of transition. And without it, it almost feels wrong, right? So I think that's what makes so many veterans and transitioning service members really great entrepreneurs, is that they've already been in that state of uncertainty, that kind of nebulous state where things are always changing, and they know they can handle the stress that's going to come with it. And coming back to that adventure, it is adventurous. There's ups and downs, and even again, like I said, overcoming those downs, that's part of the adventure. So I think it's wired into us from the get-go once we become military members.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I always say is most military folks aren't afraid to be out on the bleeding edge, right?
That's right. Yep.
For sure.
Because
you got the leading edge, right? But then take it a step farther to the bleeding edge of things, right? Where you flip that curtain over and it's like, okay, let's go ahead and shut that.
That's right. Yep.
That's a disaster back there. But it's funny you mentioned the waiting for PCS orders in the inbox, right? Because I retired in 2017 or 16, end of 16. In about 2020, it was like you can just feel that it's like a bug, right? It's like, oh shit, must be time to move. Right?
Yep, exactly, man.
Time to move.
Exactly.
And I've been here now for since the end of 16, and I'm just now finally where it's like, okay, yeah, this is good. I like this. It's stable. It's
home.
It's home. Yeah, home.
Yeah.
There's a crazy word,
Right. Exactly. Through the military, people ask me where I'm from. It's like, I don't know, man. Where am I from? I'm from Norfolk. I'm from Monterey. I'm from San Diego. I'm from Annapolis. It depends on the day of the week that you ask me that question. But I don't think I ever call the place home the whole time I was in the military. And now I can call a place home, but that's not just the physical location. It's also mentally, I feel like I'm at home, or at least I'm getting to feel like I'm at home mentally in my new role. And that, even as much as it changes regularly, I still feel at home with that change, and that volatility that what is it? The VUCA environment, right? The volatile, uncertain, complex, and what is the ambiguous? I feel like I'm at home in that. So it's a good place to be.
Yeah, for sure. It's I actually kind of love chaos. I think chaos is a lot of fun. But people think chaos, right? Because there's chaos and then there's like semi-controlled chaos, right?
Right.
I like to, because I believe that if you're not living in some kind of chaos, you're not innovating anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, most innovations come from chaos. Look at the E4 that designed the first jammer in Iraq out of an ammo can to jam radio signal to prevent IEDs from going
IEDs.
off, right? Forged out of chaos, right? Now we got the Rhino system, all these different things, right? So it's
man. What is it? Necessity is the mother of all invention, right? Something like that. And I think that's where, again, I thrive, and most entrepreneurs thrive, is in that state of necessity, and figuring out how they can solve a problem. Entrepreneurs are problem solvers, and they enjoy that process of solving the problem. So when they get a problem thrown at them, there may be a little angst when it first comes to them, but then there's the kind of the evil scientist laugh where they're like, "Oh yeah, now I get to solve this problem." So I think it's a great place to be. Is that problem solver for your friends, for your family, for society writ large. It's a great place to be.
Yeah. Well, for the people that aren't military that listen to the show, because we have about between 10 and 15,000 people that listen to each show.
Wow.
A lot of military, but it's probably more not military than is. So just so people understand your background and what that means, can you define Navy SEAL commander so people know who they're listening to?
Yeah, let's see. I've never actually been asked to find that, but I guess so. If you're familiar with the SEAL community at all, you may have an idea of what I did. But if not, SEALs are the special operations or the special warfare side of the Navy, or at least a portion of it. There's another group, the SWCS, the Special Warfare Combatant Craft Crewmen, who are our boat drivers, and we work very closely with them hand in hand. But SEALs, SEAL, stands for Sea, Air, and Land. It's one of those crazy Navy acronyms that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but it does stand for Sea, Air, and Land. And we pride ourselves on primarily being the special operators that exclusively operate, or not exclusively, but really operate well in the maritime environment. And then as far as being a commander, if you kind of envision a corporate space, some kind of upper middle management, you've got the Navy captains, which is the 06, which is, if you know the other branches, that's the colonels. And then above that, that's the admirals, which the other services, that's the generals. So I'm two ranks below the admiral or the general rank, the lowest general or lowest admiral rank within the Navy SEAL team. So I like to think of it as kind of upper middle management, making more of the operational decisions than the tactical level decisions, and not quite making the strategic level decisions yet. So it's a good place to be. It was a good place to get out, because after that starts to get pretty political, and I didn't want to play all those political games.
Yeah. No, I just wanted people that don't understand that community at all to just have some kind of definition of what you did in the military, because I think it's
a lot of fun. That's what I did.
I think it's wow, me too. I mean, I think out of all those years, I don't know how many years you put in, but I did 23. So you must have did a little bit more than that. And out of all those years, I really only remember all the good stuff. Right?
Even the bad stuff looks good looking through the lens of time, right?
I mean, you can put a dress on it however you want, right?
Yeah, no, it's it's the miserable times funny enough, I look back on fondly I guess maybe I'm just weird that way, but I think I look back on them fondly because they helped to make me who I am. Yeah. And the good times, they were good times, but they were only that. They were the good times, but the adversity, the challenges, the obstacles, that's what I think made me a stronger entrepreneur, maybe a stronger person, maybe a stronger father and husband. And that's what I seek out in the entrepreneurial world, is those challenges and adversity and obstacles, so that I can just continually refine myself and become a better version of who I am today.
And the key to that is anybody can do that, right?
Amen.
Amen. Anybody can do that. It doesn't have to be you've been specially trained for it. It doesn't have to be that. Anybody that is willing to just step outside the box a little bit, right? And funny story, because this happened yesterday. We're on the way back from Arizona, and my daughter, we were on American Airlines flight, and my daughter goes, she's 3. She goes, "Dad, can I go talk to the pilots?" And I said, "I don't think you can do that, sweetheart." And she just blew me off. She was like, "Whatever." Right. And she asked the stewardess that was on the plane. She goes, "I'd really love to talk to the captain." She comes back and she goes, "Come on." Drags both the kids up to the front of the plane. The captain gets out of his seat, lets her sit in his seat, and I took a picture of it.
Nice.
And it's just, we get limited sometimes in our own mind of what we've been taught as kids, or 9/11 happened, can't be doing that, or stuff like that, where sometimes we got to remember what it's like to be a kid again, and just go, what the hell? Why not? If you don't ask, the answer is no, right?
Exactly.
And it's funny because you get these like defining moments with kids, right? And they kind of bring you back into, kids are like the best entrepreneurs ever.
Oh yeah.
They have zero care about anything. They're like, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. And they haven't been told that their ideas are stupid, right? Not yet.
Right. Yeah.
And somehow, somewhere along the line, we get told that we just need to shut up and color, and we stop being creative, and we stop thinking outside the box. And if we do in fact truly stop doing that, then we don't have the E4 coming up with the jamming device. Luckily, there are people who may hear that shut up and color, but we don't do it.
Yeah, for sure. Or just all the people in life that you get the opportunity to be exposed to, right?
Yeah.
That's a choice. You can choose to live in this little box and only have this small circle of people that you want to associate with as a human or as a business owner, one of the two, it doesn't matter. But if you just start to expand that influence just a little bit, right? And then, now you're like getting exposed to new people, and then new people, and then new people, and then new people. And then you get all these opportunities that just, it's no longer work at that point.
Yeah. It's fun.
Right? It's fun.
Getting together for scotch and a steak.
That's it. Right. Right. That's where business really happens.
That's right.
It ain't on LinkedIn. Well, for stuff, some it really is, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great tool, but it's just one of the tools in the tool bag, right?
Right. You bet, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Jon, for like our really, really, really hard-headed listeners, probably some grunts out there like me, that didn't catch some of the little lessons. I caught them because I'm used to doing this, but if you would just had to name a couple of things you going through your journey of business that you could tell a young founder, or hell, maybe even an old dog that's just shut off and doesn't think they can learn anything. What's a couple of things you could say that would like prevent an arrow in the back?
Oh, preventing an arrow in the back. I think a couple of things. You probably had people come on before and say, "Hey, get used to failure because you're going to fail." But get back up from the failure. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's absolutely a lesson that you're going to learn in the entrepreneurial world. But I think some of the other lessons that you don't hear very often is consistency. You got to stick to it. Like, you're going to, again, have those failures, but sticking to it and being consistent. It doesn't have to be you're saving the world every single day, but you're making a little bit of incremental change every single day, and that adds up. But then I think the largest one is getting used to being scared and being uncomfortable. And what I mean by that, the being uncomfortable, you're going to be in a lot of positions where you're uncomfortable. Either you're bringing a new product to market, you're putting together a new team, developing a new idea, pitching something to a potential investor. You're going to be in a lot of uncomfortable situations. So may as well get comfortable being uncomfortable. So I think do something that makes you uncomfortable every single day, whether that's that whole list that I just mentioned right now, or maybe it's taking a cold shower or going out and doing a 2-mile ruck hump. Yes, those are physical, but it still gets you used to being uncomfortable, and then get used to being scared. And the reason I say that is because as you get further along in your entrepreneurial journey, you're going to have people whose livelihoods rely on you and your efforts. And there's going to be times when you are scared, but you have to do it anyway. You have to buck up and do your job anyway, because that's the definition of courage. Is it's being scared, but doing it anyway. And I think if you don't do something regularly that scares you, when you do get scared as a CEO, as a company founder, as an inventor, then you're going to buckle and you're going to get that arrow in the back. So I think those are the big ones: is get comfortable being uncomfortable, get comfortable being scared, and then consistency. Stick to it. Once you set your mind on something, stick to it.
Yeah, man, that's great advice, because no matter what, business is full of landmines every single day. You're gonna have fires every day, right? Especially for like the new. I originally kind of created this podcast for like new up and coming founders, so they could go all the way back to number one. And now they got 400 and some episodes to go through, that no matter what, they're going to get a couple of good bites, right, from it.
Right.
And if you do that, right, theoretically, it's not fully going to matter, because you can never prevent it all, right?
Sure.
Ever. I mean, I've got staffs that are 50 or 60 people, and the second people are involved, that's when it gets complicated.
Right. And if you try to prevent all those problems, you're never going to get started. You're never going to get started. So
right.
You may as well not even try to do all of them. So get started and know that problems are going to come, failures are going to come, but also solutions and great successes. So get started.
That's it.
Yeah.
Start necessary movement, right?
That's right. Exactly.
Troop leading procedures right there.
What is it? The poor plan executed swiftly is better than a perfect plan never executed.
That's absolutely true, though. I'd rather roll something out at 80% than.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Just get it done. You can put Band-Aids on the way.
And there's going to be a lot of them, a lot of Band-Aids.
A lot of Band-Aids, man. That's for sure. Yeah. No doubt about it. But anyway, so if how do you want people to connect with you, if you'd want them to connect with you for what you do in your business?
Yeah, the best way to connect with me is I've got a link tree, jonmacaskill.com/links, and that'll take you to my link tree, and Jon, Jon Macaskill, Macaskill.com/links. That'll take you to my multiple entrepreneurial endeavors, my multiple businesses that I'm involved in, and the multiple conferences and events that I'm working to put on, one of which you're helping with. So I very much appreciate your support, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. So you twisted my arm. I'm going to come to the conference now.
It's going to be a good time, man. It's going to be a good time.
And Chris, he gave me shit in Arizona. He goes, "What do you mean you're not coming?" I'm going. I'm driving all the way from Arizona to go. And I was like,
That'd be good.
all right.
Well, if nothing else, it's not necessarily all about the information that we put out. But it's going to be a networking opportunity and potential maybe some board advisors.
Something. And I know there's drinking afterwards, so that's
right. That's right.
Well, awesome. Well, hey, I love to end this show, close up the show, and wrap it up with this kind of final question, and that is, if you could have invited anybody here today, Jon, with you, dead or alive, any point in time, to listen, to participate. That is a huge open-ended question, I know. But if you could invite somebody here of that nature, who would it be and why?
As a participant, I would love to have Muhammad Ali here. Muhammad Ali, because of what an amazing fighter he was, both in and outside the ring, but then also because he was willing to learn from his mistakes. I mean, the whole rope-a-dope strategy or tactic that came from him fighting and another fighter saying, you know what, you could do this. And all Muhammad Ali's coaches saying, you know what, you don't know what you're talking about. That's Muhammad Ali in there. And Muhammad Ali's like, well, hold on, I want to hear this guy. I want to hear what he has to say. And he created the rope-a-dope tactic from that. So he had that kind of that growth mindset. No matter how good he got in the ring, he was always willing to learn from others. And I think that's where we all need to be as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as fathers, husbands, mothers, wives. We can always be learning, and we can always be humble enough to learn. I mean, you're talking about humility, and you learn from your 3-year-old daughter in that airplane, right? We can always be humble enough to learn from anyone around us, and we can never be too good to not learn. So I think I would love to have Muhammad Ali on your show.
Yeah. And kindness is free.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
Costs nothing to be kind.
Yes.
At all, for sure. Well, hey, brother, it was great to have you on the show. Thank you for being here. I always say,
thanks for having me.
We all got the same 168, and you took 45 minutes to come here and spend it with me. So I'm grateful for that.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to hanging out in Colorado Springs here in a few months and drinking.
Yes, sir. Come on.
Having fun.
There we go. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah.
All right,
awesome. Brother. Thanks for being here. Cheers, brother.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Thanks for listening to War Room Moments with your host, Jason Miller. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we'll see you on the next episode.